Hey everyone, and welcome to another deep dive. We love to take a look at the issues that matter most to you, so let's jump right in. Today we're focusing on a challenge that I know every retail executive is super familiar with: how to train employees effectively when you've got locations all over the place.
And not just any training.
Yeah.
We're zeroing in on video training specifically.
Right, and we've got a really great blog post here from Multimedia Plus that digs into this topic. They lay out a pretty strong case for video training, but what's interesting is the way they tackle this whole bandwidth problem.
Because let's be real for a second, limited bandwidth is like the elephant in the room for so many retailers, right?
Totally, it's a constant battle.
You've got point of sale systems running security cameras, inventory management, all those mission critical things sucking up bandwidth like crazy, and then you try to layer traditional streaming video training on top of that.
Oof, yeah, that's a recipe for disaster.
You're going to have buffering lag, frustrated employees, and honestly, it just impacts the whole store operation. Think about it from a retail executive's perspective. Every minute that your network is bogged down is potentially impacting your bottom line.
It's true. Sales, customer experience, even employee morale, it all takes a hit.
Exactly.
But you know what's funny? Even with all these bandwidth headaches, the blog post actually makes a super compelling argument for why video training is still the way to go. Like, did you know that people retain something like 95% of a message when they see it in a video,
95%.
compared to just 10% from reading?
It's crazy, right?
It's huge.
It makes you wonder why we even bother with those old school training manuals anymore.
Right.
But it goes beyond just retention, too. The blog post highlights some really key advantages of video training that are especially relevant for retailers.
Like consistency, for example.
Huge one. You can create these really polished training experiences that are identical across all your locations. Doesn't matter if you're in a flagship store in a busy city or a smaller location in a more rural area, every employee gets the same high-quality training.
It's about protecting your brand.
Yeah, for sure. And then there's the whole onboarding piece too, which I know is a huge pain point for so many retail execs.
Oh my gosh. Don't you think onboarding is one of the most crucial things to get right?
Absolutely. You need to get those new hires up to speed quickly and efficiently, or you're losing valuable time and potentially sales.
Exactly, and that's where video training can be a total game changer. Imagine this: a new employee starts on Monday, they go through these really engaging video modules, and by Tuesday,
They're already on the floor.
yeah, ready to interact with customers, confident in their knowledge of the products and the brand. It's like a fast track to productivity.
No more scheduling those in-person training sessions across a million different locations.
Yeah, or trying to keep track of who's completed what training and when.
It's all right there on their device.
Easy to access, easy to track.
And flexible too, which is another massive benefit for your existing teams. They can fit training into their own schedules, whether it's during a slow period or before a big product launch or, whenever it works for them.
It's all about empowering them to take control of their own development.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've established that video training has some serious advantages, but we still haven't addressed the elephant in the room.
That pesky bandwidth issue.
Right, how do we make video training work when we're constantly battling for those precious megabytes?
Well, this is where the blog post gets really interesting. They introduce this solution called Insight, which uses what they call a patented non-streaming technology. And that's where things get a little mind-blowing.
Non-streaming, I'm intrigued.
Yeah, it's like they've flipped the whole concept of video training on its head.
So how does it actually work?
So instead of streaming the videos in real time,
Which is what usually causes all the buffering problems, right?
yeah, exactly. Insight actually pre-downloads the content directly to devices in the stores.
Oh, wow.
So it's like having the videos stored locally.
So no more relying on a stable internet connected to deliver the training?
Nope. Which means no buffering, no lag, no matter how shaky the internet might be at a particular location.
So even those stores in more remote areas, the ones that always seem to have internet troubles,
They can still deliver a really seamless, high-quality training experience.
that's pretty amazing.
And they've even thought about how to manage those large video files without impacting store operations during peak hours.
That's smart, because the last thing you want is for a big download to cripple your network when you're trying to process transactions or manage inventory.
Totally. So what they do is they use what they call trickle downloads to send the content in small increments overnight.
So it's like a stealth operation.
Exactly. By the time your team arrives in the morning, everything is ready to go without ever putting a strain on your network during those crucial business hours.
So essentially, Insight takes care of the heavy lifting behind the scenes so you don't have to worry about it.
Exactly. It's designed to be as seamless and hands-off as possible.
And that's exactly what we need as busy retail executives, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure. We've got enough on our plates already. We don't need to be micromanaging training videos, too.
Absolutely.
But what's really cool is that Insight doesn't just stop at solving the bandwidth problem. They've also built in a bunch of really smart features that make it even more appealing for retail executives like you.
Okay, I'm all ears. Tell me more.
Well, for starters, there's automatic memory management.
Sounds complicated.
But it's actually super simple. The system automatically removes any old or outdated content
Okay.
and makes sure that only the relevant up-to-date training materials are stored on each device.
Oh, that's cool.
So you don't have to worry about manually cleaning up devices or managing storage space. It's all taken care of.
That's a huge release for IT departments everywhere.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It's designed to be as hands-off and efficient as possible, which, let's face it, is exactly what we need as busy retail executives.
Absolutely. I mean, our brains are already fried from trying to keep up with everything else in this industry.
Right. We don't need more things to worry about.
Exactly. We need solutions that just work.
And that's what Insight seems to be all about.
From what we're seeing so far, I'd say they're on the right track.
Yeah, it's definitely a platform that's worth exploring further.
So let's dive a little deeper into some of the specific benefits that they highlight in the blog posts, because it goes way beyond just addressing those technical challenges.
Okay, sounds good. Let's get into it. What really stands out to me about this Insight approach is that they really seem to get the retail world. You know?
Like they've actually walked a mile in our shoes.
Yeah, exactly. It's not just some generic tech solution that they're trying to shoehorn into retail.
It feels like they've actually listened to our pain points.
Right, and they've tailored their platforms to meet those specific needs.
Okay, so we've talked about the impressive retention rates, but what other benefits did they highlight for retail?
Well, one thing they really emphasize is how powerful video can be for demonstrating specific skills and procedures. You know, things like customer service scenarios, product demonstrations, even complex store operations.
Things that are hard to explain in a manual.
Exactly. Video can bring all of that to life in a way that written instructions just can't match.
It's like having a virtual mentor right there guiding them through every step.
Yeah, exactly. And let's not forget, we're dealing with a generation of employees who have grown up with video.
It's their native language.
Right. So if you want to engage them in training, video is the way to go.
And if I'm remembering correctly, they also meet all the security standards that are crucial for retail, like they're PCI compliant.
Right. And they're built to scale.
Which is huge.
As a retail executive, you need technology that can grow with your business, and Insight definitely checks that box.
It's all about future-proofing your operations.
For sure. And speaking of growth, the blog post also touches on how video training can help retailers address those two biggies, employee turnover and knowledge gaps.
Ugh, those are the banes of our existence.
It's a constant battle, right? Onboarding new employees while also trying to keep everyone's knowledge base up to date.
So how does video training help with that?
Well, imagine this. A new hire starts, and within a day or two, they've completed all the essential training modules through engaging video content. They hit the floor confident and prepared. No more scrambling to schedule in-person sessions or worrying about inconsistencies in the training materials.
Now that's efficient onboard.
Right. And as you said, it goes beyond new hires, too. Video training can help address those knowledge gaps that inevitably arise as products change, promotions launch, or store procedures are updated.
It's about creating a continuous learning loop.
Exactly. And the beauty of it is that it empowers employees. They have the resources they need to feel confident and knowledgeable in their roles.
And when employees feel empowered, they deliver better customer service, they're more engaged, and they contribute more to the success of the business.
It's a win-win all around.
Okay, so we've talked about the benefits of video training and how Insight tackles the bandwidth problem, but I'm curious about the actual video creation process. I mean, it's not as simple as just hitting record, right?
You read my mind, creating high-quality training videos that are engaging and effective. That's a whole other project in itself.
It's an art form.
But it seems like the team behind Insight has considered that too, because they offer a full suite of content creation services, everything from script writing and storyboarding to professional filming and editing.
So they're basically a one-stop shop for all your video training needs?
It seems that way, and I think that's a huge selling point for busy retail executives like yourself. You don't have to scramble to find different vendors for each step of the process.
It takes a lot of the stress and guesswork out of implementing video training.
And it's a testament to their commitment to creating a truly comprehensive solution.
They're thinking about the entire ecosystem of retail training.
The challenges, the opportunities, and the need for ongoing support.
It's impressive. They're clearly invested in seeing retailers succeed, which is exactly the kind of partner you want in your corner.
Well said. Speaking of partners, did you notice they also offer something called strategic support services?
Vaguely. What exactly does that entail?
It seems to go beyond just providing the technology. They offer guidance and support to help retailers get the most out of their Insight investment.
Like what kind of guidance?
Things like training program development, data analytics to measure the effectiveness of your training, even change management consulting.
So it's definitely not a set it and forget it kind of solution.
Not at all. They're there every step of the way, providing the expertise and support you need to actually transform your approach to training.
It's like having an extension of your own team dedicated to making your training program a success.
Exactly. And that level of support can be invaluable, especially for retailers who are new to video training or who are looking to really level up their existing programs.
It's about having a trusted partner to guide you through the process.
That-
You know, it's funny, we started this deep dive talking about bandwidth, but this Insight platform seems to be about so much more than just a technical solution.
I completely agree. It's about empowering employees, fostering engagement, and ultimately creating a more successful retail operation. And that's something every retail executive can get behind.
For sure. But before we get too carried away singing the praises of Insight, it's important to remember that this information is coming from Multimedia Plus, the company behind the platform.
Right. It's important to keep that in mind. They're presenting their product in a positive light, which is understandable, but it's always wise to do your own due diligence.
Don't just take their word for it.
Exactly. Talk to other retailers who are using Insight, explore case studies, and really get a sense of whether it's the right fit for your specific needs and goals.
Because what works for one retailer might not work for another.
Absolutely. Every retail operation is unique, so it's crucial to make informed decisions based on solid research and a clear understanding of your own challenges.
Well said. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. We've explored the power of video training, addressed the bandwidth hurdle, and uncovered a potential solution in Insight. But before we wrap up, there's one detail that really caught my eye, and I'm curious to get your take on it.
Oh, I love when you get that curious glint in your eye. Lay it on me.
Remember how we talked about Insight being a non-streaming solution?
Yeah.
Well, the blog post briefly mentions something called Insight plus Zoom.
Zoom, as in the video conferencing platform. Now that's interesting. What does Zoom have to do with a non-streaming video training system? I'm intrigued.
Me too. It's not explained in detail, but it seems like they've found a way to integrate the two.
Perhaps it's a way to facilitate live virtual training sessions or to add a more interactive element to their video content.
It could be a way to blend asynchronous video training with the real-time interaction of a Zoom session.
That could be really powerful.
I agree. Unfortunately, they don't dive deeper into it in this blog post. But it definitely raises some interesting questions and seems worth exploring further.
Absolutely. And it's a great reminder that even when we think we've got a handle on a topic, there's always more to uncover.
You said it. All right, so we've covered a lot of ground today. We've talked about the advantages of video training, the bandwidth challenge, and Insight as a potential solution. What are your final thoughts?
Well, it's clear that Insight is addressing a real need in the retail industry. Their focus on solving the bandwidth issue while delivering a high-quality, scalable, and engaging training experience is really impressive.
I agree. And I think their commitment to understanding the specific challenges of the retail world makes them a valuable partner to consider.
Definitely. But as we discussed, it's crucial to do your own research, talk to other retailers who are using the platform, and make sure it's the right fit for your specific needs.
Solid advice. Now let's move on to some final takeaways for our listener. You know, as we've been talking about Insight and all its features, it strikes me that at the end of the day, technology is just a tool.
That's a really good point. Insight can create the infrastructure for effective training, but it's the human element that really brings it to life. You know, the content, the trainers, the overall strategy.
Exactly. We could have the most sophisticated video training platform in the world, but if the content isn't engaging or relevant,
It's not going to be effective.
it's all about finding that balance between the tech and the human touch.
Absolutely. And speaking of the human element, I keep coming back to this idea of employee empowerment.
Me too. The blog post really emphasizes how effective training can empower employees to take ownership of their roles and become true brand ambassadors.
It's about creating a culture of learning and development where employees feel valued and supported.
And where they have the resources they need to thrive.
Exactly.
And that's where I think Insight's focus on mobile accessibility is so smart. You know, think about it. Your associates have access to training resources right at their fingertips.
Whenever and wherever they need them.
They can brush up on product knowledge before assisting a customer, watch a quick training video on a new store procedure, even access motivational content to boost their morale during a busy shift.
It's like having a personalized learning library in their pocket
Exactly. It's about putting the power of knowledge directly into the hands of your employees.
and giving them the tools they need to excel.
And when employees feel empowered, what happens?
They deliver better customer experiences
They're more engaged.
and they contribute more to the success of the business.
It's a win-win for everyone involved.
Absolutely.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I think the key takeaway for you as a retail executive is this: embrace innovation, and explore new technologies like Insight.
But never lose sight of the human element that drives your business.
Invest in your employees, create a culture of continuous learning, and remember that empowering your workforce is one of the most powerful things you can do to unlock success.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
This deep dive has given you a lot to think about. Hopefully it sparks some new ideas and inspires you to explore how you can take your retail training to the next level.
Keep those minds curious and those retail strategies evolving.
And we'll catch you on the next deep dive.